Is there anything you're doing that's, that you would like to do that you're not doing that helps you?
Right now, I heard a comedian say that it was Anthony Jeselnik. He said, I don't mind if my jokes make people upset, but I don't see the point in writing jokes with the sole purpose of making someone upset. If a joke is funny, but it's upsetting, that's fine. But don't write jokes just to upset people. And that's like something I've been trying to incorporate in like is that like I want to be organically funny and I want to try and like hone that in however I can and like and be receptive when I'm not funny and like figure out how to branch off on that. So it's just more of like accepting that like, hey, you might not be as good as you think you are. Let's try to hone this in. Let's use whatever utilities at our belt we can. Let's research it. Let's listen to more stand-up comedy. Let's not try to like emulate what we find, but let's try to like grow and learn and like, I don't know, write down more topics. Like shoot your shot more, but like try to be more digestible. Not less offensive, but more digestible. Like to where everyone could get the joke. I'm not saying let's tell a joke that like your mom could listen to, but like let's tell a joke that can make more people laugh versus more people go, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm working on personally. And like I don't know if you learn that in school. I don't know if you do. I don't know how you do that. It's just I never don't write stuff down. I never don't try to work stuff out in my head. Like I'm still thinking about the Marco Polo joke and like how to make it better and how to make it funnier and sharp and I don't know.
I should have laughed more at that one. I'm thinking back at it, and you just said it's getting molested with your friends, and that's hilarious. That's super funny. I think it just went right through me on that one because I think a lot of people would probably relate to that joke. But anyway, no, I don't know. Don't ask me to punch up the joke for you. I have no idea how to do that.
I'm open to literally, dude, like all criticism. Like that's the one thing that sucks that like with what me and you do is that like we're open to criticism because we're on a public platform. So sometimes like people will be like, oh, I didn't find that fun. Like, I get all the time, like I didn't find that funny. That would actually hurt my feelings. And I've actually learned to be like, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But like I'm still happy. It takes a lot to like stand by a joke. And like I'll never write one to make you upset. But if a joke that I make makes you upset, I feel like that's more of an internal issue on you versus like me like just telling jokes and doing what I do. And it takes a lot because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but at the same time, is it my responsibility to tell jokes that cater to every single person? Like how do you even do that? Like you would have to be like McDonald's. Everybody loves McDonald's, but I'm not McDonald's. And even some people hate McDonald's. So I don't know. Like, I think it's impossible to be palatable to everybody.
Okay, you were talking about that. I think it is true. There's probably a way to craft jokes, but we talked about this before the podcast. You were talking to me about sensitivities, people's sensitivities, particularly when seeing some of the content that you post. And I think that's what you're getting into right now. And so I don't know, do you feel stifled sometimes? And actually something you just said, saying it's not your responsibility necessarily to coddle everybody's feelings. There was a person, it's funny, I ran into this fairly recently. She has a podcast as well. So a woman named, I'm not sure if I'm butchering her name. I've seen her only online. It's Salome Sebanex or Sebane.
Yeah, I would butcher that name too. Yeah. Salamander C-sex?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was
C-section?
I was trying to find like, did they ever say her name out loud? I've been looking at her content, but she's a person who kind of is an advocate of free thinking and saying like, hey, you gotta handle yourself. And one of the things she said, I'm quoting her right now, as our culture becomes one where the appearance of being a good person surpasses the importance of actually being good, the way we value others is also mutating. More people are losing their tolerance for anyone who isn't like them. So I kind of felt like that hit a nerve with me about this particular topic because it's like, hey, Taylor's trying to tell some jokes. And then it's like, hey, Taylor, this is so stupid. I was about to say Taylor, those jokes to me. Terrible pun. Wow. I don't know. I shouldn't even have said
appreciate it. I do. I'm sitting here and it's like, it's connecting in my brain. I'm like, huh.
He didn't tailor those jokes to me, directly to me. And so I better tell him that he's messing up. And it's like, do you feel like that's in any way stifling, or how are you getting through that?
Not only do I completely agree with that sentiment, but I have an example in my own life that I'd like to like, and this isn't even jokes. This is like, this is pseudo political. I call it pseudo because I'm not going to like I'm not gonna like specify. I'm just gonna like go side by side. It's like, oh, this side, this side. I'm not like gonna be right or left or anything, just because I don't want to like upset anybody, because that's a very polarizing topic.
Sure,
But
yeah.
me and my girlfriend, like, I'm very like, during the pandemic, I think I leaned like way far to this like one side with my girlfriend, and we were very like in succinct, and we believed the same things. We still believe the same things. I just don't think I want to be extreme about anything. I feel like absolutes are like horrible, and I don't want to be an absolutist. I don't want to like absolutely no, absolutely yes. I feel like there's like existential circumstances to every single situation that you'll ever go through in life, and they'll be like, oh, this is wrong always, but what if this? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard, and I don't need to be right. I don't need to be correct. I just want to like be down the middle and be able to like go to the barbecue like we used to be able to, and it didn't matter like who someone voted for. You just like hang out, just be a friend, be an ear if someone needs to talk, no matter like what they believe in or who they voted for. You know what I mean? Because like I'm an atheist. If I had extreme beliefs, I would never talk to anybody that believed in a deity that like I didn't believe in. But that's not. I don't want to live my life like that. And like I feel like now it's like my girlfriend. She'll if you voted this way, she like won't speak to you. And like that's kind of becoming like a rift in our relationship. It's weird because like I get that the pandemic kind of shaped people and made people weird, but we were supposed to break out of that and like integrate back into society and think our own things now, and just I don't know, just be a part of like the grand scheme where we all try to help each other and like see that like we all have the same human experience despite who we voted for. But for some reason, like everybody's just kind of like crazy. At least in America it is. I don't know if Canada's the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if everyone's on the Trudeau train, but
I've seen
it's crazy out here. It's crazy.
I've seen quite a bit of the same sort of thing. To be honest, out here, I've seen rifts between families and all that. And if there's anything that I'd like to do differently with this podcast from what I was doing before, is I definitely didn't say anything about this because of how touchy this kind of thing is.
And I didn't specify at all out of respect for you. You know,
No.
I just was talking about extremes and like siding with one way, like.
But I'm with you on this, actually. And so one thing I would like to do differently is to say, hey, look, because with this podcast, I have talked to people from every spectrum, and on Twitch as well. When I do Neon Ballroom, I've talked to people from every spectrum of whatever political or religious version you are, and everybody's pretty cool. So I've noticed that, like, okay, as long as we don't have to get into something that we're disagreeing, I would like to promote what they call civil discourse, or just agreeing to disagree on some topics, and not hating one another or having to fight about it.
Diplomacy. You're being diplomatic. You're being diplomatic.
Like, what? I don't have to think everything you think. When was that ever taught to us ever? You know, and like
never my life. Never my whole life.
Yeah. So
like I remember like there's been like I've been alive for like tons of. I'm 37. I've been alive for tons of elections. I don't think until recently it was ever really a big deal. Like I never dated a girl that was like, "Who'd you vote for?" It was me and I honestly I don't think I ever talked to women about politics, or like I don't want to like sequester it to genders, but like I don't think I've ever discussed politics with anyone. I don't think I even really cared until like recently, when I was like, oh, well, there's crazy shit going on, I gotta do something. And then like you can never be right because like someone's always unhappy with who you voted for. So it's like, when was this important? Like is it really important? Like how much control does the government really have over your life? Like your groceries are still going to be expensive. Like you're still going to war with whatever country. Like it's just whoever takes over is the lucky one that gets to bring us out or continue the war. And I don't know. I think it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm with you.
How much does it affect your life?
Well, I'm with you on that too. I feel that maybe a lot of this sort of stuff, a lot of these values and stuff like that has kind of been hijacked from a political standpoint, or even from a corporate standpoint, where it's like, hey, now maybe if people believe in these things, they'll vote for us. Or if they believe in these other things, they'll vote for us. Or maybe if they believe in this stuff, they'll buy our product. And it doesn't really have to do with you as a person, I don't think. I think it's easier to segment people into groups in order to sell them something, essentially. Yeah. So maybe that's a paranoid way to think about it. But here's the thing. I'm happy for somebody else to come and tell me, no, Rick, you've actually got it wrong. Here's some reasons why this isn't right what you're saying, and I'll say, okay, well,
Yeah.
what about this and what about that? Then maybe we can hash out what's real. But if it's just like, well, you're a piece of shit because you voted for so and so, or you thought about, well, what are we supposed to do there? That's not a starting point, right? So, I mean, I guess in the end, the question was about really, how do you handle this from a comedy perspective? Like, is this a difficult edge to walk?
So that brings me back to what we were talking about before. You asked me about like how I hone my craft and what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just want to like beat this into my own brain because it's something that I'm trying and I'm starting to do. I don't care what you believe in. I'm going to tell the joke. I don't care. I don't know. It's not my responsibility or your responsibility to cater to someone's sensibilities. And I'm not saying that I don't care if I hurt your feelings, but I want you to know that I would never attack you as an individual person. I'm just making overall satire on like the way society is, or something that I observed through society. None of it's like individually like targeted. You're not targeted. You're not being victimized. That's something internal that you're telling yourself, oh, I believe this about, he made a joke about fat people. I'm fat. I'm offended. It's like, but I didn't say you. I was talking about like an overall, like, it's like a societal behavior that we choose. We choose to overeat, or we choose to do this. Like, you're uncomfortable with your behavior, so you're going to direct you're being upset with me. You need to be upset with you because you're upset with yourself, because you let yourself get to that position because it's clearly sensitive for you. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know. I would never ever target someone or like point to someone and make fun of them. It's just, it's not my way, unless you're my friend and like we're just like bantering like friends do.
Got it. Yeah.
But that's something that I'm trying to adapt. It's like, it's not my problem if you're offended. I don't want to say it's your problem, but like that's something internal that's going on with you that you secretly believe about yourself. So like, all I'm doing is telling jokes. I'm just trying to make you laugh. It's not incumbent upon me to cater to your sensibilities. And like, I don't want, like, that's just, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a pussy or this, that. Like, it's just the way that I'm going to verbalize it from now on is it's not my responsibility to cater to your sensibilities. And like, or sensitivities.
Look, I'm with you.
You know, as long as I'm not being like ignorant or like, I'm not like a bigot or anything. So I'll never tell jokes of that nature, but like, I don't know, like,
of course.
Well, society is satire. Everything's satirical.
Even in everything you said, you just said like, okay, yeah, I know that there's limits there, and I understand that. I know that it's not 100%. I'd like to get away from 100%. I don't want to be this binary thought process of it's either right or it's wrong, and that's it. You know, like, is it like context matters, circumstances matter. In the context of a comedian telling a joke, you know it's meant to be funny, and then like you felt sad because but Taylor can't know every single thing that happened in your life. He doesn't know you at all. It's a parasocial relationship. You heard him talking or you saw him on a post, and that's it. Like, you can't do this. I know you can't do this. You know, like you can't be a superhuman in this way. You're just a person trying to tell jokes and be funny. So like, I think we get that, right? And I hope more people can get on top of the and just get tired of being angry at some point. Like, can we get tired of being angry and just chill? That's
the whole reason that I do this. That's the whole reason you do what you do. Like, you want to like bring something that brings you joy and bring other people joy with it. Like, that's all I want. And I don't understand, like, let's say you don't like what I have to say. You could always just go watch someone else. Like, it's super easy. Like, some people will like scroll and leave comments, and I'm like, what? You could just keep scrolling. Like, that's what I do when I see something I don't like. Tom Segura has a joke where he's like, hey, I'm going to handle you how I would handle my 12-year-old. Like, when someone says that they're offended by someone I say, I pat them on the head and I give them a kiss. And I say, well, you should never hear something that you don't like, so you go stand over here now. He's like, that's what I do to my kids. When he says, oh, it's loud in here, I kiss them on the head and I go, well, you go over there. It's not loud over there. And it's such a good analogy on like how to deal with people who just like, they can't let it go. Like, you can't let something, like, just don't comment. Like, clearly I want to make you happy. I'm not trying to make you upset. Like, and I don't know, I think a majority of the people laugh and they get it, and it doesn't really bother me. I can't let it bother me, because then I wouldn't do what I do. It's kind of like we invite that by doing what we do, by putting ourselves out there. You know,
you mentioned Tom Segura. I can tell you a situation where I handled that specifically with Tom Segura, because I was watching his podcast years ago. I don't know how long ago this was, but it was an old one. And you know how Tom will, out of nowhere, throw up some video that's the most horrendous thing you've ever seen in your
It's
life?
so bad, dude.
Yeah, and they're really bad.
So bad.
So I was like, but I didn't see this coming. He's just like, oh, check this out. Out of nowhere, they're having a conversation. Oh, that reminds me. Bip, hits a button. And suddenly there's a video of a guy swimming in a cesspool or something like this. He's in full leather gear, swimming in a cesspool. And I was like, actually, I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to know this guy existed.
Nobody wants to see the videos that happen on that.
I didn't want to see it.
Like the guy with the pee closet. I don't want to see pee closet, but I think it's funny. I would never see it again. I would never look at it again.
But like, I was actually angry. I'm like, nobody warned me this was going to be the case. Like I felt angry. Yeah. I'm angry with Tom. Right now, I have a beef with Tom Segura for that reason. At the same time, did I post a comment about it? No. Did I? Because I'm watching Your Mom's House. His podcast is Your Mom's House. I'm watching them, and I know that from time to time, they throw up some pretty crazy stuff. So it's on me. I shouldn't have had it on, you know?
I mean, and we also, like, we make an agreement to ourselves when we, like, digest this kind of comedic stuff. So, like, oh, you might hear something that you don't like. Like, we're human beings. Like, during this podcast, I might say something that you don't like, or you might say something that I don't like. But, like, those are agreements that we make. Like, you're my friend. I value your opinion and what you have to say, despite if I agree with it or not. Like, you don't have to think the same way that I think for me to choose you as a friend. Like, that's... And I don't know if it's because I'm old that I think that, but I don't know. I feel bad because, like, I feel like the younger people, like, don't have fun. Like, they don't laugh. They don't laugh. They just, like, all they do is hang out with people that think the same way they do. And I'm like, I mean, I know you guys, like, hate Nazis, but that's what they did. You know what I mean? Like, they just hung out with people that look like them. So you just got different symbols. You got I don't know.
I feel like you're about to go in on that for a minute. You're like, I'm pulling back.
It sounds the same.
No, it's true.
It kind of does. Like, we're only hanging out with people that think like we think. It's like, okay, cool. That's what the, like, hay bale pulling, like, flannel wearing pickup truck driving guys, that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? When they're trying to keep up their Confederate stuff, like, you're doing the same thing, just opposite.
It breeds weakness. I think you got to listen to the other side of things, even if eventually you decide you don't. Even if you decide you don't agree with it, you say, like, okay, you know what? They've explained it. That story doesn't make any sense to me. I don't agree. And what are we got to kill each other now? Like, over ideas, over thoughts, over jokes, over any kind of entertainment specifically, I think is probably a bad idea. And I'm trying lately also not to generalize people, because I'm like, hey, this whole generation's probably. That's the way they've done it for years. Every old person has said, this generation's terrible. They don't know what they're doing. And then the generation's fine. They grow up and they're fine, So I know there's a lot going on, but it's mostly, I wonder how realistic what we're seeing in media versus the actual picture.
It's true. That's very true.
It's like, look how crazy it all is. Well, that's an extreme most of the time. Or even when we post something, I post stuff that I want people to see. I don't just post every second of my life. So it's not really a mirror of that. I think,
even though we do want to see more pictures of you in the shower, if you could get on that.
Snap.
That'd be cool.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I've heard from people, like, do you think you're getting all of your guests? We all talk within ourselves and like, hey,
where's the shower pics?
Where's the shower? Yeah, like, where's the shower? Like, you can blur it like they do with the porn in Japan and just blur from the belly button down. But, like, we just,
get some pixelation going.
Rick. How much do we have to do for you before you do for us, Rick?
Look, I don't know. This is a valid claim. I understand. No, like, I truly understand. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I think I have to, again, I'm focusing on the one thing. I'm going to take the podcast seriously from here on out. And then we'll get into other realms of video projects. Let's put it that way.
So you said you have a podcast. Do you have it, like, in the bank right now for, like, just ready to hit, like,
I do
go and then, like, upload it?
Yep.
So that's you by yourself.
That's me by myself. I had an idea about Superman, and I wanted to talk about it. And the character Superman.
Like, what if he was into bestiality? You're like, what if Superman liked dogs?
Almost. There is almost a reference to bestiality in it, which you wouldn't. I think you were making a joke, but then there is. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, it's just a serious podcast, right? But because I kind of, there's a point where I reference Superman and Marcus Aurelius, and I kind of say, hey, I think they have some what am I trying to say? Crossover personality traits, similarities. There you go. Thank you. I'm trying to find the
that's the first time I've ever been able to help someone with vocabulary, so I felt really good about it.
I felt like there were some similarities, and essentially I said, I was talking about how Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome at a time where he could have asked for literally anything. He could have had sex with anyone or anything. I said anything as well, like anything he wanted. It's
dude.
Rome.
Donkey,
it's Rome.
Donkey.
It's the donkey show. We would be having a donkey show on the steps of the Senate of Rome.
That's insane.
And that could happen. So since that can happen, oh, trigger warning, guys! If you've got a problem with donkeys,
yeah. If you're attracted to donkeys, this is the podcast for you. If you're not attracted to donkeys, sorry about it. I don't know what to tell you.
You were fully erect, or you lost your erection, depending on which.
Go listen to Rick's first episode if you don't like. Just listen to it twice. If this one, donkey show. There's no donkey shows in the other one. This one though.
But no, I did talk about Superman. That's a good donkey impression. Fantastic. No, I did talk about that because I was like, I have an idea about this. I feel there's something to do. I feel like it's got some relevance to what we're talking about as well.
Yeah.
The character of Superman and what he's actually about versus what I think a lot of times movies and stuff make this character about, or a lot of comic books, or the way people in their minds perceive it. And I was like, you know what? I see it a little differently. Maybe this has been said before. I don't know. But that was my thought. So I got it in the bank. It's ready to go. We're recording this one. There's 5 other people that are going to be on this show, all booked, ready to go. And I'm going to keep this thing running. I'm
How open to sharing with me right now for all of your audience are you can you give us like a hint at who's coming on? Like, I got it. It's going to kill me the whole time. You told me about it earlier and I've been thinking about it while trying to talk to you, and it's killing me.
Who's coming on?
It's killing me.
Okay. I don't like to say this kind of stuff ahead of time because I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, what if they cancel just before or something like that. There's a couple of people you and I both know because we met them on Twitch. So one or two people from Twitch who have got some interesting stories in life. I was like, you know what? Tell me those stories that we never talk about on Twitch where we're just trying to be entertaining or whatever. Tell me the hair curling story. So one is Mother of Carp. She used to work in the...
She was just on Wiki Wednesday yesterday. I was in there with Panda. That was awesome. I love Mother of Carp.
Forgot about that.
She used to live in Portland.
Yeah.
I just moved back to Southern California. That's why I've been like MIA everywhere.
I was going to talk to you about that too.
It sucked. But yeah, no, Mother of Carp was on there. I don't know what they were talking about. It was like marsupials or something. I don't know. It was really awesome. I love her. She's a fellow Portlander.
That's true. So, okay, she's coming on. I've got this, a dude named, I've got a tattoo artist who is also in
so awesome.
3 metal bands. Well, one kind of folk band and 2 metal bands.
I think I know what you're talking about.
This dude has time. I guess, I don't know, but he's amazing, incredible artist.
Is it who?
It's not. It's not. I don't know who that is. So
Kraken?
It's not Kraken. It's not Kraken.
Oh, man.
It's not somebody from Twitch. I don't know them from Twitch. Okay. I know them through the podcast. Generally, I'm actually try to avoid that. Like the podcast, not that I don't want. I have a Twitch stream where I can interview Twitch streamers. But these people, this podcast is more about people who do something kind of outside of the box or even inside the box, but they do it in a great way. Because
we don't want nerds here. No fucking nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of which, I have somebody that I did interview on Twitch though coming on. I couldn't wait because we couldn't really talk about this on Twitch. She works at like an old folks home basically, taking care of the elderly. And I'm like, I know nothing about old people. You know?
I know I don't like them.
That's it. You know, remember we said we had ideas? I wrote down like stupid lines. I wrote quick lines. One of them is this. If dogs and some birds eat squirrels, what do old people eat? So like, what are they feeding these people?
I like that, dude. It made me think. It worked my brain a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like I subverted your expectations.
I actually wrote something about old people yesterday for this podcast.
Let's go.
I actually did not know. I didn't know that we would talk about this, but it's I love when someone is in their early 60s and we say, "Oh yeah, that's so young." Yeah, that's so young for an old piece of shit.
That's just on the face. That's just a nail on the head right there.
But that's just like, I don't know. It's something dumb. Like there's no like clever punchline. It's just like, oh, what? That's young, yeah. Like, well, for an old stack of trash. I don't know. Like,
yeah, if you're talking about being elderly and like decrepit,
that's very old for a. That's so young for a molting bird's nest. I don't know. It's very.
It's old for rocks. You know, like it's very young for a rock.
Yeah. If you're a rotisserie chicken, it's so young. 67 years old.
What was the Chris Rock joke? I don't like repeating other people's jokes, but I do like repeating other people's jokes. Are you?
I'm terrible at it. I don't like. That's another thing. Like I'll write a joke, and then I'll hear it somewhere else, and it'll make me so upset. Like I wrote a joke about Beauty and the Beast, about like Belle being into bestiality. I'm like, what? It's a Disney movie about a lady who fucks a wolf that turns into a man, and she gets mad and like, hey, can you turn back into the wolf? And while the horse sits back, like with a dirty look on its face because it's jealous, she probably banged the horse before. That's what you don't get something to run that fast if you're not banging it, or if you don't have a. So I was listening to I was just watching Netflix and I was like, oh, who's this Tim Dillon guy? Has the same joke, same exact joke, and I can't I'm not gonna tell that live, but like it happens a lot. I'll write something and I'll write something and I'll be so proud of it. And I'll watch a Netflix special and it'll be in the Netflix special. And I'm like, well, at least I've it makes me feel good about the thoughts that I'm having because I'm like, oh, that someone just did that.
Legit. Well, and if it's Tim Dillon who's doing it, well, then, you know, you're in good company. I feel that way too whenever I've written something that shows up in a TV show or a movie and it's like a hit. I'm like, okay, that sucks. I hate it. But because I didn't do it first. But they didn't copy me. They thought the same thing I thought. And that means I'm thinking the same way as these incredible people are thinking who are doing the best stuff. So maybe that says something about you. If Tim Dillon, who's a crazy good comedian, is saying this kind of stuff. And at the same time, I think we've all wondered about Belle, right? Like that's very relatable. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Basically,
oh, dude, she's like, she's banging animals while a talking clock and a candlestick watch, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Like they're doing it in front of like the baby teacup, and he's crying, and the mom's like, it's okay, and like no one knows what's happening. They're like, it's a castle in Tijuana?
Think about how she got in with this guy. He beat the shit out of her dad. Like this is a serious boyfriend. Like she likes the bad boy / monster animal guy. Like is he part dog? Is that sort of the story?
He's like an artsy werewolf. He's got a rose underneath a gold, like underneath a glass thing. It's an ode to feminism. That was the whole movie.
He's an artsy werewolf.
This is how delicate it is. We're gonna put it in this glass thing, and it's gonna have sparklies on it. It's a feminist.
Meanwhile, cut to, he's got her by the hair, throwing her in a cage.
That's so true. It's so true.
It happened in the movie.
I can't, dude. I gotta go back and watch that movie because I can't write jokes about it because fucking Tim Dillon. He ruined that premise. But I mean, whatever. He's a better comic than I'll ever be. It's all just like just me looking up and going like, did you have to take that one, Tim? Did you have? Leave some scraps for us. There's not much material left down here.
It's rough.
I could go on for like an hour about how much I don't like old people. It's only because they have so much. They have so much, and they leave us with so little.
Wait. I think this was something I think you and I would disagree on to some degree. Although I'm not that far off, but I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about parents, right? You were talking about the parents situation. And I was like, I don't know.
I didn't want anything from my parents. I just wanted the opportunity to buy something from them because they have so many assets. And I have the appropriate amount of money that someone would offer. In that situation, I would pay them that and then get a loan. The bank would pay the rest of it. And then it would be incumbent upon me to pay that loan back to the bank. And they were just like, oh, we'll rent it to you. I'm like, you don't need to rent it to me. You own like 3 properties. Just let me buy one of them, or 4 properties. Let me buy one. You guys can rent out the other 2, and you guys it's all good. You're old. What are you going to do?
It starts to be a bit of a different story, but I could see it this way. This is the way I see it. Is like, if they're retired, you get to a stage where that's the stage where you're going to have to pay for the most medical bills. So even if you have a bunch of money and you have properties and stuff, it's like this, we were planning on having this money from all of these properties. Also, maybe they don't want you paying your money to the bank. They'd rather it go to them, which is eventually going to go to you anyway. Meanwhile, they live the lifestyle they want. Yeah.
You might have a point on that. We might have just like, we might have just connected the other train. It was going forward. You lost a little bit of steam and let me catch up, and we might have just connected by accident.
So like, I don't know, not thinking too harsh on the parents, but it hey, look, it is what it is. You would know the situation better than me, but I tend to do the opposite of what everybody does. Is like they root for the underdog, and I'm like, okay, wait, what's the successful person who's winning doing?
But that makes so much sense. They don't want me paying money to a bank, so they rent it to me, and then they rent me something they were going to give me anyway, and then like it does make sense.
Then the money went to them.
Now I feel like a big dumb shit. Thanks, Rick. Now I feel stupid. It's just turned into Rick and Morty, and I just Mortied myself.
At the same time.
That was such a hard Morty right there, dude.
Got Mortied.
I got Mortied there.
No, but I think like sometimes too, parents and older people don't say it. They don't say that. If they just said that.
I'm left to figure this out. There's no like, I find you irresponsible and undeserving of this home. Because I would digest that and be like, oh, what can I do better? How could I like digest the situation, dissect it, and figure out how to be better? Because that's what I would do. I wouldn't take that criticism with like, well, fuck you. I would be like, no, you believe that for some reason. What do I need to do? Is there something I introspectively need to fix? Because I would not be above doing that. Well, like, I'm not perfect. I completely understand that I have things to work on. But I'm not going to know them until someone points them out. That's why I like comedy, because someone could be like, I didn't find that funny. And I can be like, how do I make it funny?
Because I do think there's a way to make a joke funny, too. Like, 'cause I've seen that. I've seen Andrew Schultz, right? Crazy great comedian, has a great podcast. And he seems to be... I was
just listening to his podcast.
Were you?
Yeah, before we started talking, yeah.
He seems to be able to make anything funny like that. He can go to a place where it's like he can go to let's say the Middle East, and then he can make a bunch of
blackface funny.
Wait, explain it. Wait, did I miss something? What? Tell me.
No, I think that's what you were gonna say. Sorry, I'm sorry. I got excited.
Don't tell me, because I don't think I know that. How did he make blackface funny? This is a great question. I'm honestly, I don't remember this. Maybe I remember the joke if you start saying.
So he's like he's doing crowd work. He's like, blackface, never okay, not funny, right? He's like never okay in any situation. But me and you were in the desert, and he points to a black guy in the audience. He's like, we're in the desert. It's the dead of night. All right. You need me. And it's just me and you. Blackface, never okay. But if you smile, we're getting shot. We're dead. If I show up like this, I look like an i5, the complexion of an iPhone flashlight. We're dead. So you got to paint me up. You got to paint me up. And they both laughed.
They both laughed.
And they both had a moment. They both laughed. And that's why I think that like a lot of the like outrage that's going on right now is just white people. I was watching a video the other day of a dude, and super quick anecdotal thing.
Go. Say you have time. You have time.
Around in a sombrero. He's got like some traditional sombrero on, goes up to people. He's like, hey, and he's got like that little like poncho on, and I'm half Mexican, so I can tell this joke. Not you, Rick.
Okay, I won't. I'll try not to.
I'm just kidding. I don't care.
I might say it later. I'll tell my wife later for sure.
Rick's like, I got in all my slurs before the podcast, so we're good.
We're good.
I got them out of my system.
You ever heard Theo Vaughn say that? Like, someone came in here and said the N-word. He's like, if I feel like I really need to get it out, I just write it down.
Dude, I love you. Just stare at the moon. It's like you have werewolf complex, but you're just like,
Okay, sorry, you were trying to say sombrero,
so this guy's walking
poncho.
around in a traditional sombrero, and he's got a poncho on, and he walks up to all these white people. And he's like, hey, do you find this offensive? And they're like, yes. Cultural appropriation. Every single white person he goes up to says yes. He goes up to a Hispanic person. They're like, no, I love your getup, dude. It's amazing. I resonate with it. He goes up to another Mexican family. He's like, hey, do you find this offensive at all? They go, no. I resonate with that as well. Like, you're in a Mexican restaurant. You fit in very well. Goes up to another person, like not even in the same restaurant, like doesn't know what he's doing. They're like, no. No Hispanic people thought he was offensive. It was all white people. I think it's just white guilt. And I don't know where it comes from. I think white guilt can kind of be associated with like it's almost racism on another scale. Like just treat people normal and laugh at what you find funny, and then that's how we'll make it out and be equal.
It is true, letting it go.
Just let it go.
I think because maybe like I don't know, if I think about comedy, I thought about this as well. If I think about comedy that I've listened to in my life from childhood, there was Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle were big. They're big comedians in that realm, and you hear a lot of stuff, and then there's the news and stuff. You hear a lot of stuff about white people in those comedy sets. Just to be fair, you know,
it's half.
They're the worst, apparently.
It is, but it's hilarious.
And we all laugh.
I don't think I've ever been upset at a white joke in my life, in my whole life.
But maybe there's a lot of white people who didn't spend time in certain neighborhoods, didn't spend time around certain other ethnicities, didn't spend time, around people, and said, "Oh, is that really what these people were feeling this whole time? Oh my God, they thought we were racist and all that. And maybe I am racist." I think it gets in their head, and they start overcompensating in another direction, which is kind of like almost a reverse racism in a way. Like you're being racist by trying not to be racist. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's weird. And like you'll see them interact with people outside of their race, and they'll be like, "Oh, how are you?" Oh, and I'm like, dude, they're talking to him like a dog that just walked into the room that's like 96 years old. Like, "Oh, you're such a good boy." It's so good. It's like, no, dude,
dog.
just treat them like what up, man? What up, man? What up, man? Like everybody should get the same greeting. They shouldn't even be in the front of your head that's like, "Oh, that's a black guy, gotta be nice." Like, come on, because that's what you're thinking by like acting that way. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Just tell the Asian person they don't drive very well. Be like, I was behind you for 6 lights and it took 10 minutes. Like, just say.
Just
stop treating people differently. Just treat everybody the same. You're the problem.
Okay.
Whitey.
So we're back.
Piece of shit.
It's always white people's fault. It tends to be. In the end, it does.
Dude, it is. Even when they try to be like inclusive, they're shitty. I told a joke the other day that made someone so mad. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to George Floyd, how long can you hold your breath? They got so upset. And I'm like, just laugh. Like, you don't have to be upset because it pertains to someone of a different race dying from a police officer. We know that that's sad. I know it's sad, but how do we move forward? By laughing at something and like it's now as part of our society. It led a movement in our country. Like, we recognize the pertinent pros and the extreme cons of that situation. Now let's laugh at it. Like, I make 9/11 jokes. It happened 20 years ago. No one's like, oh, but like the George Floyd joke, it's the same tragedy. They're both tragic. It's just how I deal with tragedy. It's how I deal with like having something that horrific exist in my atmosphere by joking about it. You don't have to like it, but that's my coping mechanism, and you guys can have yours.
That's totally
I just
fair.
use it to try to like elicit laughter from someone else because that's a positive response to something terrible.
I think that makes sense, and I think it's not like no one else has acknowledged the situations. Like the negative situations, they get a lot of play. They get a lot of play, and it's a tragedy. We all must think this is the worst thing in the whole world. Yeah, it is bad. We all know it's bad, but then we need you to show up and say, "Hey, it's pretty bad, but here's the funny side," And
like, I'm not glad that it happened. I would rather I never have that stupid joke, and then that situation never happened, but it did, and we have to deal with it some way. How many days can you cry before you laugh? That's the question.
That's fair. That's totally fair. It's like being mad at Titanic jokes or something. Well, I mean, I guess it's sooner, but I don't know. I think, isn't this something I've heard Joe Rogan say at least 1,000,000 times? Probably, I don't know, years and years and years ago. He used to talk about a comedian, cannot remember which comedian it was. I think he was either a Boston or New York comedian. Now I can't remember his name. But he always tells this story about how the day after the news story came out, there was a news story of this woman who like drove her car into the river with her kids in it or something. It's horrendous, right? It's the worst type of situation. She killed them both.
It's horrendous if you're a bad parent. You're a good parent. Kids would know how to swim, and then everybody would be fine.
Nailed it.
It's just a tale of bad parents. This is why you got to throw your kids into a pool at a young age, because one day you're going to drive off a car and they're not going to know what to do.
They're not going to know what to do. So yeah, but this comedian goes on stage the next day after this story comes out, and he's like, "So I heard they were bad kids." He's like, they sat this close, right? And it's
so good, dude.
It's no fat on that.
There's no fat on that joke. It's just I heard they were bad kids.
Yeah. So
was that Dennis Leary that did that?
No, I don't think so. It's because I would have remembered Dennis Leary, but it was
Dennis Leary's. That was like my time. Like I'm 37. Like that was like I was a kid. He was like I was not allowed to watch that dude. That's chef's kiss, but he's Boston comic.
Oh, so there you go. So, but it wasn't him. It was somebody I don't know as well. Moore, who was like a comedian's comedian, I think, and wasn't on a lot of TV shows or anything like that.
Okay.
Just where Dennis Leary was in like Demolition Man, so he found a way to.
It could have been Dave Attell.
It could have been. Dave Attell has always got something hard to say. It could have been him.
He's so
I wish I could
like some of these people, dude. They make me never want to tell a joke again because I have so much reverence and respect and just so much like coveted like what did you do? Like, what do you do to your brain to morph it to be like that? Maybe I am like that, and I just don't know. I have no idea. I'm not aware of my talents. I don't even know if they're talents. I just know that, like, I watch someone, like, control a crowd and make them laugh, and I'm just like, dude, you don't know what you're doing for these people. Like, laughter just enhances your life. Like, you're taking a room of people that could be going through something horrendous, and you're, like, telling them it's going to be okay and giving them something to help them deal with that situation without actually saying that to them. And it's the best gift that you can give someone. Like, you don't know what your audience is going through, and you're leaving everyone in a better shape than what they came in as. But you're doing that to hundreds of people, and it's amazing. I have so much reverence and respect for that. It's insane for me to be able to do that to like 2 people per podcast or however many people listen is insane to me.
No, you're doing great, and I wonder if this is a thing. I'm not sure if I know this is not just you who feels this way, where it's like, oh, they're so good, and who knows, I can't even tell if I'm good or not. I can't tell if what I'm doing is great or not. And I'm happy. This actually kind of transitions into something I was going to talk to you about right at the beginning, which is that I know you're trying to take your podcast seriously, and like you changed the name to Taylor Complains. It used to be Defiled Entrails, and you're like, hey, you know what? No, I'm going to do my best foot forward. I think some of that comparison stuff does get to us in that way, because we think, okay, well, look, I see Dave Attell, he's crushing it, he's amazing, and like he's been a on-stage stand-up comedian for like 40 years or something. So yeah, of course he's excellently good. But downplaying your own ability is easy, I find. Like whenever I write something, if I have to read it like a year later or something in order to think that it's actually good, and I go like, oh no, this is okay, this was okay. So I think you're not the only one. I don't know, how are you dealing with that now, to know that like, no, you actually are good at this?
I want to walk in a room and know that I'm capable, but not think that I'm better than anything that's going on around me. If I'm going to put out a podcast, I want to make sure that like it's the best that I can do right then. Because if you're going to listen, I want to make sure, and I'm talking like to you personally because you listen. I want to make sure that like it's not a waste of your time. And then you're not getting B material or getting stuff that I worked on. You're getting thoughts that like actually have some like fruition to them, that have fruit bearing from them. Like you get like all the anecdotal things that you deserve when you're going to like dedicate some of your time, your free time that you're not working, that's precious. Like I want to make sure that like I'm giving you the best that I can give you. And like the name change was easy because I was like, my name didn't say anything about what I was doing. I just want you to like look at the name and be like, oh, this is the content he's providing. Now I can make that decision if I want to listen to it or not, versus like, what the fuck is Defiled Intro? Is he Beauty and the Beasting a dog? Like, I don't want to know.
It sounds like that.
Like, I just want to give people like a better look at what I may or may not be doing. You know what I mean? Because obviously Taylor Complains, all I don't do is complain. You know what I mean? There's like sports, there's other stuff in there. Like, it's all very fleeting right now, but it's all coming together. I feel like it takes a year of podcasting to get like a rhythm and doing what you're going to do. And I think after a year, it just takes a long time. Like I used to
Yeah.
stream and then I don't know, I liked streaming, but there was always something missing for me. I think I'll start doing it once a week just because it does help the podcast. And I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the people I meet on there. And like it's cool to like be gross and like, just have a room full of gross people talking about gross things. And just making people laugh and like sharing that same environment and like no one feeling hurt because they know what to expect because I'm very like open about what I joke about. So I don't know. If you have
Okay.
palsy, don't come into my stream because I'm going to joke about palsy. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe everybody's welcome.
You're welcome with palsy. Don't worry.
There's
You're
no,
welcome
even
if you have
even
cerebral
if your
palsy.
lip hangs a little lower than the other side of the lip, it's fine. Just don't drink in front of me. Well, we're good. I don't have to look at it like.
I have always felt welcome in your stream. I felt like you were very welcoming to people, which I thought was amazing. I've told you this a million times that the crazy name Defiled Entrails like caught my attention, and then the almost exact opposite behavior it was super fun. So I can understand why you had that, but then if you're doing a podcast at the same time, Defiled Entrails might not tell people much.
Well,
about
Defiled Entrails. It's so podcasting is something I want to market to everybody because everybody listens to some kind of like they listen to music, they listen to this. It's very much more accessible than Twitch because Twitch is very much like, oh, I think of Twitch, I think of, oh, I'm going to go watch someone play a video game and talk about whatever. That might not be for everybody, but podcasting is very much more like, I feel like that has a vaster audience, especially if you're going on Spotify and Apple, which my podcast is on both. And I don't know. I just did episode 34 with a flight attendant, and I didn't expect to do 34 episodes. I think I have like over a day's worth of podcasting. I have over 24 hours worth of podcasting in.
That's amazing.
I never thought in 100 years. I don't think I've been this consistent with anything in my life.
Well, that's incredible.
It's something I love to do. Even if nobody listens, I think I'll still do it like forever. I don't think I'll ever stop.
First of all, congratulations on that though, for sticking with it going forward. When I listened to it, because I knew you from the stream. I knew you from the Twitch stream. Didn't know the podcast. And then when you started telling me, hey, I have a podcast, I started listening to it. I was like, this dude's crazy good at this. Like you're crazy good at this. And it's probably hard to believe and hard to hear, but I have looked at a lot of podcasts. Podcasts has been a thing I've been watching, listening to for a long time. I want to be good at them, so I try to watch people who are good at this and say, like, because people have told me on Twitch, like, hey, you're a good interviewer. I'm like, am I? How do you even become so who's the best interviewer? I want to watch it. I want to be good. But I saw you talked about the flight attendant, right? And she was on your podcast. I was enjoying your conversation. You guys talked about so many different things. You were able to transition from, here's the thing that I thought was good. That way it'll make more sense. I'm rambling a little bit. But you were able to transition from talking about itchy buttholes. You started off in the itchy butthole realm.
I have a problem in my 30s.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to do better.
You try to get there? From itchy buttholes?
I don't know. I missed that course as a child or something. I'm trying to do better. I don't know why it's just happening now.
To her saying that she's like going to be the first responder if you're on the plane, and like she's seen somebody almost die looking straight into her eyes and stuff while they were sick. And so like it spanned the gamut of human emotions on that. And also she's started becoming a decorator too, right? So that's another thing.
She's an interior decorator.
Decorator.
I think that's primarily what she like wants to be referred to. Obviously she's a flight attendant is what she does for money, and so they've got good benefits, but she's an interior decorator. I think that's like her passion. It's like me being a bartender, but like, like I want to be a comedian. That's like all I want out of life. That's all I care about. But like bartending pays the bills. I think flight attending just pays the bills for her.
Okay. And you know what though, too? I'll say this though. I did listen, and I had one critique, if you want to call it. I had a comment that came to mind. Can I say, like, I know she seems amazing. I followed her on Instagram also. I was like, this is great. I saw the stuff she was doing. She had an accent wall inside of a broom closet. It was awesome. So I was like, okay, she knows what she's doing. She's a good decorator, great flight attendant. But you were saying as a decorator, you were saying that, what would you have done with something in the realm of what would you have done with like Jeffrey Epstein's Island or something, or if you end up working for
decorate Epstein Island?
And she said, look, I this is the good thing about being a decorator. I can choose my clients, but hey, this is my comment. I think we both know that she's alluding to the fact that she would not decorate Jeffrey
She'd take
Epstein's
the money
island.
and run.
She would have gotten paid to decorate the whole island.
She'd decorate that dungeon, and it would have kids' blood all over it when they found it. And she would, you know what? She would take the money. She would take the money. She wouldn't even care if kids' blood got all over the Van Gogh that she picked out for the back wall. She wouldn't even care. Next to the chains that hang out from the wall. Nope. She'd
be dressing up the spy cams in the orgy room. She'd be like, maybe we could put some sconces over these things, you know? And she's a flight attendant, so she'd have been on those private flights with all the major celebrities and politicians and all that stuff too. She'd have been able to do that part. They're like, hey, fly us in. You're the perfect she's the perfect juxtaposition of Jeffrey Epstein Island. So at the same time, that's what I was thinking when she was saying that. We're having fun. And I wanted to say, was it Brandy?
Brandy Levy.
Brandy Levy, she's awesome. I'm not actually saying she's working for Jeffrey Epstein and that she would have worked for She never did. She never did. So please, everybody, don't think that she's awesome. She's nice. Not throwing. She was great on the podcast.
We just want you all to know vehemently, we do not support pedophilia, but we will joke about it and we will laugh about it.
Yeah.
But we do not support pedophilia. Don't do it. If you find children sexually arousing, please call this number above. Get help.
There's no
Get help.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll try to get a number up there. I don't know what the number for that is. I feel like
can't say we didn't try to help him though, Rick. Can't say we didn't. We tried to help him.
We tried to help him. Don't do anything about it. If you're going wild with the pedophilia,
leave the kids alone. They're not even attractive. They're weird. They're flat. I don't like it.
They're gross.
It's like the desert when you want to be in the mountains. You know what I mean? Adults like the mountains.
Adults like the mountains. I like it. And then you took a sip of whatever that was. So that I felt like
it's just carbonated water.
Carbonated water. So that specific carbonated water, I felt like that line, adults like the mountains, and boom, and it has something to do with the bubbles. Is a perfect commercial.
Matthew McConaughey trying to sell you like a Sierra truck.
Yeah. What did he used to do? I can't even know. He just sort of rambled off of like the.
Yeah. He just sit in a truck and be like, I love this truck. All right.
The leather.
All right.
It's kind of like the thoughts you have when you're trying to head out to the mountains. And how does he sound? He's like, all right,
this truck
all right,
actually might be broken because it doesn't go left. It just goes all right.
He's right. He's got a bit of a whistle, right? He's got that sound. So he's like, hey guys. So yeah, you think in the back of your mind, there's the subconscious mind makes you feel when you're calm and relaxed, and it's like when your mind is calm and your body is chill. Or so it's some kind of rap song, but not rapped. And
he's got the same voice that like told Shiloh to take his dog in the back of the barn before you shoot it in the head. that same voice.
This Shiloh voice. Okay, wait, what? Was that old yellow?
Shiloh, you need to take the dog in the barn. It's got rabies.
It's got rabies.
You take it out to the barn, shoot it between the eyes. Shoots it in the foot on accident. He's like, "What I tell you, Shiloh?" Starts beating up Shiloh. I don't know. I never saw it. That's my interpretation. Kid's probably dumb. Can't work a shotgun.
It was the old days.
Got to kick to it, Dad. All right, and they kick the dog to death because they can't shoot it.
That is so rugged.
All right, Shiloh, you don't know how to work the gun. Get the bat. Get the bat.
Get the bat.
Get
the board with the nail in it.
Casino.
Damn, the end of Casino. That
ruined my life.
Rough.
That ruined my childhood.
Did it?
Dude,
how? Why?
At the
Tell
end
me
of
more.
Casino, Joe Pesci has to watch his brother get beaten with a bat until he turns purple in the desert, and then they kick him in a hole. That ruined my childhood. Like that was the first time I saw something, and I was like, "Oh, I'm bothered. I'm upset, like internally, but I can't explain it." It made me feel so bad. To this day, that scene it's kind of rough.
Yeah, I think what's rough about that scene is because I get what you're saying, because I remember very few scenes from Casino. But I remember Joe Pesci's reaction to when he sees there's like a couple of holes. Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the 50-year-old movie. But there's a couple of holes in the desert. They brought him there, and he's like, oh, shit. Like he sees it, but he's there with his brother. And it's not about him. He's saying, oh, no. He starts to say that. and like I don't remember what the character of his brother's name was.
Yeah,
Not him. You know, like it wasn't about that. And then they beat the shit out of both of them. And
I know,
they
dude.
fall
And then he
into
starts
these
crying
graves.
at the end, and he's like, "He's already dead. He's already dead. Stop!" But like they're just doing. I'm like, "Oh, come on!" Like,
It's so rough.
and then what they do to what the makeup artists do to the body, they make it all blow. I'm like,
So
and I've seen some
they were
gross
good.
stuff. Like I love horror movies, so like all I watch.
Okay.
But that movie, for some reason, I'm just like, man.
It's a rough one. Like, yeah, I don't think I watched it again. I thought it was great.
No.
I may have seen it twice. I'm not sure, but I don't think I watched the movie again because I was like, okay, I got it. There's a lot of rugged
because I know what's coming.
Stuff. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, because I know that part. Because I feel like if I watched it again, it would just be like me watching something with the recognition of like, I know that this is going to happen at some point, and I'm not going to like it.
I'm with you. Speaking of movies, we talked about this. I said I would talk about it. We could talk about it. If you have nothing to say, it's fine too. We were talking about Marvel movies and Star Wars movies and basically all of these repeated IPs that have come out again and again and again. I actually wrote this down because I have a statement about it. You know, I have a statement about it. I said I'd like to never see any more of them. No shows, no films, no spin-offs, no reboots, and no remakes. What is your take?
You just lost all of your listeners, Rick. They're all gone now. Now you can say the N-word like you wanted to the whole time.
But look at it this way. I'm a comic book writer. I've written comic books. I love comic books. I love these characters. It's not that I don't think they could be fun movies, but it's like, come on now. I'm
gonna do something not out of character. Character.
Go.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for the Marvel and Star Wars.
Okay, let's go.
Do you like Invincible?
I liked it. I liked the show. Yeah.
It was really, really good.
I liked Omni-Man.
I can't, like, to the point where like I tried reading the comic books online or finding a way, like, how do I get to the end of what this is? I just was really intrigued with it.
Thought it was good
as a whole.
And I liked Omni-Man though. I wanted Omni-Man to win, which is maybe not what everybody thought.
I think he's still like gonna do some like messed up stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I think what my theory is that Omni-Man's son is gonna like turn out the same as he does, and it'll go full circle. That would be kind of cool.
Interesting.
I don't know. See the degradation of his character.
So like this is it. I'm not saying again. I made a definite statement, which is like obviously extreme, but it's not really true. Like it's if you make something good, you make something good. But Invincible,
but that's not Marvel. But
we hadn't seen it.
Invincibles isn't Marvel.
That's it. I don't need to see the same people again and again and again. And maybe there's a new story to tell. But yeah, a lot of this stuff from essentially the 70s and 80s, I think it's getting played out to some degree, like just remaking a thing that was made in the 80s. It's like, okay, these storylines are all from the 80s. Like I read some of these comics too, so I'm like, I already kind of get it. So maybe that's what was happening with me. But you know what bugs me about them? If I'm whining and complaining.
Everything.
Not everything. Suck. They're visually very nice.
So bad.
But the problem I have is just that it doesn't feel like I guess I'm on the side of Martin Scorsese with this. It doesn't feel like cinema to me. It doesn't feel like a story. It feels like an emotional beat in a scene and then another emotional beat and then another emotional beat. And these grown adult superhero people are just totally immature all the time. Like they can't have a conversation without an argument.
It's just people who wear pajamas all day. I don't know. Like get a job. I don't know. I
get a job.
So what I was gonna do with you before I got too heated up to listen to this anymore. I was gonna ask you if you've seen The Boys and if you like The Boys on Amazon.
Yeah, it was fun.
I like watching superheroes like that could rape. Not that do, because I don't think that's appropriate, but they could, and they think about it. Because that's like, I don't know, whatever. That's like primal human instinct. It sucks. It is what it is. I don't know. Animals do it in the wild. Animals don't get consent.
No, they go.
Not supporting it though. But just like The Boys is insane because it's like superheroes playing on their id and like doing horrible things to each other. I like that. I don't want to watch Wolverine again. I don't want to watch Deadpool again. Deadpool is just like a bunch of Hot Topic shirts coming out of someone's mouth. That's all that is. By liking Deadpool, you're just like, I love shopping at Hot Topic. This is great. Put my thoughts on my shirt.
Yeah.
And then have a guy read that shirts out loud. That's all Deadpool is. Marvel is horrible. Star Wars is horrible. You've been milking the same cow for 40 years now, 30 years. Get over it.
It's true.
Grow up. Grow up.
Star Wars.
I want new stuff. That's why I'm so thankful for The Boys and for Invincible. They're fresh IPs. It's fresh thought. It's like, I like it. It's graphic. It's pertinent to what I like. I love The Walking Dead. I thought that was cool. They didn't need to drag it out as long as they did. Just do new stuff. Game of Thrones was amazing. Like, we live in a time where all these new things are happening. Harry Potter was good. Like, leave it alone. Let's do other things. Like, find new IPs. Please, God.
Yeah.
Please.
It's not like there's any shortage of it, for sure. And like those things were like Invincible was a comic back in the day. Was it the 90s? Or even, and
Yeah.
the Boys, I think, came from also maybe the 90s or 80s too. So like these aren't like brand new, but they weren't made into shows 10,000 times already. And
No,
Star Wars,
I mean, they're fresh ideas.
I mean, there are some Star Wars books that have some good stories and stuff, so it's possible that could come out. But I haven't really been into Star Wars movies. Like, I mean, even like they called them the prequels, right? Way back in like whatever it was 1999 or something.
Those were bad.
They were bad. So now we're still 25 years later, and we're still doing it. We're still doing it. We're saying they're good, but they're not
Do
really.
you think that I'm going to be very candid with my next question?
Okay.
Do you think that people are just stupid now?
Okay. Well, here's.
Do you think that there needs to be like what I'm saying is we could increase the educational age to like 21 and force you to stay in school so that you stop liking this dumb shit. Like be like what, like demand more from entertainment, please. Like stop being happy with like a guy who shoots webs and then thinking, oh, what if we put a girl that shoots webs? And then now we have a lady that shoots web. Can we just get how about a lady that does something else? How about like I don't know. How about a lady that can vote? How about let's
just lady that can vote. I think we've
been
been making those movies for a while too, though. Actually, like
on,
there,
man.
we weren't allowed to vote. Like, okay.
Thank you, Hillary Swank. Thank you.
It got done. It got handled. No, okay.
Justice writers or whatever she was.
I actually don't think it's that people are stupid. I think it's this. I think that here's I'll pose this to you. I don't know what it is, but I'll say this. There are a few phenomenons that I actually wrote down so that we could talk about it. There's a thing called the Zeigarnik effect. It's a psychological phenomenon. It refers to a tendency to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed tasks. In the context of familiarity, it could be argued that people are drawn to things they've experienced before and seek a resolution or closure, leading them to prefer familiar narratives. And there's also another one. Yeah.
Like nostalgia?
That is a take on nostalgia. There's another one called familiarity heuristic as well. It's the cognitive bias where people make decisions based on the familiar rather than exploring new options. It's related to the idea that familiarity provides a sense of security and comfort, influencing decision-making process. And so imagine you have a bunch of kids, like you say you have 2 kids or something like that, right? And you're like, oh, I used to love Spider-Man when I was a kid, and there's a new Spider-Man. Like, of course you're gonna say, well, I know I can go and see that. Or it's like, oh, there's a new movie with Joe Pesci in it. It's good, and he's running a casino. Let's find out what happens in that. So I think possibly people have just that old sense of nostalgia that's saying I got a bias towards it. And so you it's hard to, and you're loyal to it. You're loyal to it. That was what I grew up on. This must be still good. I don't know. What do you think?
Dude, ladies just need to start threatening their boyfriends. Like, look, if you watch this again, I'm leaving. Ladies, we need to band together and stop this shit. Doesn't it make your panties dry? Like when your guy comes home, he's like, look, I'm Spider-Man. Like that's the lamest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Come on. Stop with the Marvel. Grow up.
What do you think about this? Okay, go.
Think of it this way. Do we want the same dinner every night, or do we want different things? Like, why don't we demand more as a people? Like, hey, we're not going to go watch these Marvel movies anymore. Please make something better. Please stop insulting our intelligence by thinking that we're going to come out, show up for these stupid movies that they don't even put that much effort into anymore. The multiverse. Spider-Man's having elbow noodles instead of spaghetti today, and he's eating this, and he's fat in this universe. No, now we have fat Spider-Man. Listen, my uncle's fat Spider-Man every October 31st. That's in real life. Let's give up. Let's give up on the Marvel universe. Let's give up on the DC universe. You don't need another Batman movie. He's rich. He doesn't even have a superpower. He just hates poor people.
Yep. He goes to the poor neighborhood and just starts
He
fist fighting people.
Rich. He only beats up poor people. Batman hates poor people.
He does. That's canon. That's canon. No, I'm totally with you on the growing up thing. I think it's cool if you're a child. It's fine.
Super cool.
Then like those things as a child. But being super into it. You know what else? Here's the image that comes to mind right now. I remember seeing an ad. I can't remember. I was probably flying into LA probably, right? And so there's a poster in the airport that's got like, it's about Disney. Let's all go to Disney. It's going to be fun. You've got the dad, the kid's dressed up as Stitch or Lilo and Stitch or something. And the dad's fully from head to toe dressed up as Woody from Pixar. And I'm like,
that's Brokeback Mountain. That's
pudgy.
A Brokeback Mountain cowboy taking his kids. I don't want to see the end of that movie.
He's a pudgy.
Spits in his hand. What are you doing, dude? There's kids. He's like, I know. Easy, buddy. Easy. We don't support that. We don't support that here.
No,
Please,
we don't.
If you need help, call the number above.
Call the number, everybody. We don't support any of that.
We don't support that.
We don't support any of that. But I'll laugh. I'll laugh right away. So, because it's the worst thing, right? So I don't know what you're supposed to do with the worst thing other than laugh or I guess cry. Like cry. I mean, it's bad. If you want to cry, you can cry. But I don't know. I prefer to laugh if I can. No, but I saw this thing. It's this pudgy dad. He's out of shape. He's dressed up like a toy. And I was like, is this what we want to do? I'm like, I want to be the opposite of this guy. Like, he's a great dad, maybe. Great best friend to his kids.
I want people to be happy, dude, but like Disney adults, I don't really understand. There's adults that go to Disneyland by themselves. You have children. You take them to Disneyland. You guys have fun. You're in a relationship with someone. You want to go and ride some rides. You go and you ride rides. That's weird, kind of, because it's for kids. But whatever. They have like adult stuff now.
Yeah.
So
there's
it's like,
some stuff.
I understand how it's catered to both. But like if you're by yourself, like no one has looked more like R. Kelly than you in that moment. You're trying to pee on some kids in the line. I know you are. Call this number, Buck.
Call the number, guys. Call the number,
help.
please.
You had some good albums, but overall, you belong in jail, R. Kelly. Get out of Disneyland. Stop peeing on kids.
That was exactly my feeling. You know what? I'm trying to say, how do I segue from R. Kelly peeing on kids at Disneyland to the next topic? Well, you said your uncle is overweight Spider-Man every Halloween.
Yeah, multiverse joke, because like they made like an animated Spider-Man and then brought like whatever.
It was hilarious. You don't have to explain. I understood. So I'm trying to see if I can take that and segue this into you're trying to get into shape. Speaking of
I'm trying.
The pudgy dad.
I no longer jiggle when I move, which is like I feel like that's the progress that I want. Like, you know, when you walk down the steps and like if you're out of shape, you could feel a little bit of movement.
Yeah.
I no longer feel movement, so I feel like progress is happening.
Okay. Cool. Well, like, yeah, what happened there? Like I know you had to move from Portland. First of all, this is another thing. Speaking of moving from Portland, a totally different topic, but like, what made you want to move? Like, you moved from Portland back to California. I know it's your original home state, I believe, but like, what happened there?
So I'm from Southern California, Orange County. My family, everybody I know is from here. We moved to Portland during the pandemic because pandemic made everybody crazy. I was just like, let's try something new. We moved to Portland for like 2.5 years. I missed my family and I got tired of the rain, so I moved back here. But during that, we had to like put all of our stuff in a pod, like this little like box that they call a pod, is like as big as the room that I'm in right now. Like, and they shipped it to California, so we didn't have anything to eat to cook our food with. So like I was eating out every day for like 3 months, 2 months, and like I don't know, I just like got out of shape. Okay. And now I'm like 15 days into like using kettlebell, going to the actual gym. I think I like the kettlebell more because I can just kind of do it at home. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to be accountable for all aspects of my life. Just like if I can be good physically, I can be good mentally, and then that's just gonna help my comedy. Like if this is good, I can just pump out jokes, make you laugh, make you smile. You know what I mean? Like, not waste your time when you listen to my podcast. Put my best foot
Absolutely.
forward. That's all I
Absolutely.
want.
Man, this really seems like I feel like since the last time we talked, like you turned a corner mentally somehow on some of this stuff, because I feel like you really want this to go well. I get this impression that you really want to be, I don't know, do you just literally be doing your best for comedy, the best for the podcast, the best for your body, the best for your mind, and just get also breaking free of some of the shackles that I think you felt. I don't know. I'm getting this impression from you.
I still feel crippling self-doubt all the time, but like, it's not going to get me anywhere. It's not going to do anything for me. It's like, I don't know, like, it's like the food we eat in America. It's all poison. But like, if you just buy an apple, like, chances are like 90% of that is just an apple. So like, I can have 10% self-doubt, 10% this, but like, I'd like it all to be an apple because I can use whatever I'm putting into my body to like, for energy, or like the fiber helps me digest stuff. And I don't know. I want to make sure the stuff I'm ingesting and the stuff that I'm doing, I can use to like, I don't know. I'm 37. I think getting old too, kind of like, oh, there's wrinkles in my forehead now. I should probably like get my shit together, because I don't want to be like the 50-year-old like getting my shit together. Like I'll do it now, and if I fail, it's fine, because I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I feel good. I feel better than I felt in a long time. So I think I still have a lot of self-doubt, and I still have days where I'm like, I'm staying in bed, I'm not doing shit. I'm not doing anything, just like everybody else does.
Okay.
During that time, I just choose to get out of bed. And I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing anything, but I'm still going to do it and see what happens. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I just end up back in bed. But most of the time, I throw a workout down. I cook up some steak. I have some steak and like a vegetable, and I feel good. Drink some water. Like, a lot of it's like what you put. Like, sometimes you're not going to wake up with the tools you need. Sometimes you got to reach out and get them.
What I've been doing for the past 3 weeks, I understand all of that stuff, so I'm with you on it. And like this room is a gym, so the office is also a gym. I do this stuff all the time. I love doing that. I'll be doing boxing on Friday night as well, you know. So I'm into it. I've been doing for the past 3 weeks. Well, it's been longer than 3 weeks, but I've been doing it seriously for the last 3 weeks, fasting.
Yeah. Oh, how many days are you on versus off?
Well, okay. Right now I'm doing the time restricted eating, where I've done, for the last 3 weeks, there has been no time where I didn't eat. Like, I didn't eat for 20 hours to 25 hours was the longest that I've done so far. Tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing, and then on the weekend, Saturday I'm just not going to eat anything. And I'm going to eat Friday night and eat Sunday morning, kind of thing. And so I've been messing around with that. And yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, like I do exactly what you do as well. Full workouts, weightlifting workouts. I think you have to combine strength training. It's a big thing. Like you say, I've got a pile of kettlebells right there. It's totally worthwhile. Yeah, kettlebell's awesome. I also have
how do you feel?
How do I feel? From the fasting? Because like from working out, it's been a million years. I always felt better with doing a time restricted thing, like not eating so soon before bed, because I think you get better sleep. Then you sleep better, you're better the next day. You wake up, you do a better workout, and it just sort of cascades. But I will say that the longer I fast, the more clear my mind gets. I feel a lot sharper than I have in a while. That's helping. So that's why I'm pushing it a little further. I want to do 36 hours. They say 36 to 48 hours tends to be the situation where your mind starts kicking in, and where apparently your body starts eating any kind of foreign bodies. Like if there's cancer cells or broken cells, all the plastics and stuff, it starts flushing out things you can't use. Yeah.
Glass.
Man, all of that, all the rusty nails and, whatever, puppy dog tails and all that stuff.
Your self-esteem. That's right. Your body will eat it all.
So no,
it'll eat it all.
It feels good, but no, it's
good for you, man. That's insane. You know how hard it is to not eat?
It's kind of tough.
Food is?
It's good.
It's so good, dude. That's insane. I thought about fasting, and then I'm like, you're a fat piece of shit. You're not going to fast. Listen, I had to look him in the mirror and be like, listen to me, you fat fuck. You're not fasted. It's not. We're going to go to Costco, buy some steak strips, buy some roasted chicken, buy some oven roasted turkey breasts. No more carbs. You're going to do the carnivore thing. You have a little bit of carbs, you have a rice cake. How about that?
That's the
And then
way.
that's what I'm doing right now. So it's like carnivorous to a degree. There's a little bit of carbs in there, maybe like 20 carbs a day, but nothing crazy. I ditched the protein
Oh,
bars.
go.
I'm only
Yeah.
doing like steak, chicken, uh, turkey, fish, just like lean stuff like that. The steak from Costco like is pretty good, so it's not super fatty. But
I'm doing the
what do
same.
you eat when you do eat?
Dude, I eat the same thing. I've been doing I try to buy all the organic stuff too. Like if you go to Costco, they have organic chicken, they have organic beef. At least some of them do. Some of them don't. It depends. Orange County probably. I know
We will. Yeah.
in Malibu they have it. I've been to the Costco in Malibu. They have it. So you can get organic everything in the Malibu Costco. I was like, this is wonderful. So anyway,
Dude, Costco is the greatest thing to ever happen in my life. Except it's always fucking big.
dude.
The parking lot at Costco. I'm like, what is this, an SS camp? What are you guys lined up to get gas or something? Like, why is there so many people here? Or why is it is people waiting in line for a parking space?
Dude.
I'm like, it's like when Furby just came out.
Go to
I'm like,
the
what
next
the fuck
thing.
is this?
I park like the furthest away from it.
Yeah,
Like
so
I
do
have
I.
a route. I have a route that I take going to Costco. Me and you are the same on this stuff, man. I swear to God. Because Costco, here's what I think happens at Costco. It becomes some sort of a cow herd mindset where like people are
Yeah.
grazing on the samples, and it's just, I don't know. It's
I don't
like
even
cows
get a
in the
cart,
road.
dude. I just like load it all up and just like running back my way to the line.
I do that.
I don't even get a cart half the time, dude. I just like
That's the
turkey
way.
breast, steak, chicken, protein bars, and then sometimes they have those buffalo chips that are just chicken with buffalo. So I get those, and then I'm out.
Get it? Nice. But yeah, no, that's I'm with you, man. I've had to try to learn to deal with the whole Costco anger. That's for sure. Because it's like when people, I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, why are you staring at the thing? Why is your cart turned sideways across the way? Why?
I'm
Why are you-
triggered. I now know what that means. Is triggered. The kids say because I have anxiety now.
Yeah, and I saw him because I know what I'm buying. I know what I'm buying, but this is the thing. I think some people are there. It's like an event, and maybe that's what. Maybe I could try to think of it that way, but no. I have a list of things. I buy fish and shrimp and chicken and beef, and I get the hell out of there. So maybe some avocado oil, and I'm ready to rock. The organic eggs, I buy those.
Dinner sounds like it's fun at your house.
It is.
That
it's a good
sounds
time.
so good. I gotta get shrimp.
You know what the story is too? Salt, dude. Like I got the Redmond's real salt. It's unrefined salt. So like the white salt that we get is refined. It's been iodized.
Yeah.
There's iodine in it and stuff like that. So you kind of lose all of the electrolytes essentially, like the magnesium and potassium and iron and stuff that's in regular salt. And dude, it tastes so good. Like putting that on a steak or a roast or something like that is amazing. So
I'm just so concerned with like how like the FDA approves all this shit. Like I'm not sure if you guys have an FDA. The FDA might be like worldwide. I think like all food needs to be inspected to be approved for human consumption.
Yeah.
I feel like our bar is set so low. So like the best thing that I can eat is meat because I already know like meat's gonna have hormones and shit in it, but it's not gonna have like a list of chemicals that like a mile long, and I have to like this is just water. This is carbonated water. It's water and bubbles. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I don't know
if you're
what
willing
they
to
put in the food. Like I'm not gonna eat like cereal has like more ingredients in cereal than like there is to bake a cake.
No, it's
Like,
true.
to
There's
bake
so
something.
much. It's so much. It's bad. It's
I
mainly
don't know
sugar,
how, like,
right?
and I'm just trying to fill my body with like the least amount of chemicals possible. I think the shittiest thing I eat Greek yogurt.
That's good.
And like there's a couple chemicals for the flavoring, but like that's what am I gonna do at that point?
You do your best. You're doing your best. I think that's the thing with food is do your best from wherever you were to where you know is kind of the best for you. Because I think everybody knows that you just eat whole foods and stuff like that. Like I did. If you can, at some point, I started to get bougie where I was like, okay, everything. I always get organic meat so that it doesn't have all the hormones and all the antibiotics and all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
There's also like with beef, there's like local farms that do grass-fed, grass-finished, no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides. If you can get that stuff, it's a little more expensive.
Oh, I don't care.
But
What
that's the
I
way to
care
go.
about it's the money that you spend on like it's like an overpriced piece of meat. First of all, it's 1,000% less expensive than going out and getting that at a restaurant, and you have no idea what you're doing to your body. Like your body's gonna be so happy. Like your body's probably so happy, Rick. Like the
Maybe.
fasting, and then when you're done fasting, you put food in it that's like completely natural that people have been living off of like since the dawn of time.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? Like meat's the oldest source of food ever. So I don't know. I think you're on a better track than me. I'm getting to that point. I mean, fasting is the next thing for me. I think because I've been thinking about it for a while.
You thought so?
But just going from like 5 to 10, no food, like 5 p.m. to 10 a.m. and then I'll have whatever at 10 a.m. or even 5 to 9. Just doing like a 15 hour like every day, 15 hours and nothing.
That's my suggestion is do whatever you can. If you're interested
Yeah.
in it and you want to try it, that's the reason I do this stuff is because we probably have heard a lot of the same stuff. This is out there. Carnivore has gotten popular. So I was like, you know what? I did carnivore strictly for 2 months just to see what it is. And fasting's popular. What happened? I didn't really notice much different. I felt that like I was maybe a little more cognitively clear. I could say that. But here's the thing. Here's where this stuff really helps. When you do a diet or something, if you're usually eating a lot of junk food, then you're going to feel a huge difference. Like
yeah, I don't really eat a lot of junk.
Yeah, so if you don't, I don't, and I haven't for a million years. So the difference for me is like 2-3%. I feel a little bit better. And I was like, okay, I think I prefer to throw in some avocados, throw in some apples, throw in a few healthy fruits and vegetables, and that's better I think than carnivore just for my personal taste. But I try it for 2 months to see how it is. So
you're in pretty good shape anyway though, right?
I guess I struggle with gaining weight. Like it doesn't seem to matter how clean I eat and how much exercise I do. I seem to gain unless I really watch how much am I eating. So that's why the fasting sort of comes into play, because it's like, okay, this window of 4 hours of eating or something makes it so that I'm really not eating that many calories, and then things are okay.
Do you pack the calories in that 4 hours though, or are you like, oh, blah blah blah?
I pretty much have the day's worth of stuff. Like I have something like 2,400 calories. Right now I'm on
4 hours. That probably looks wild, dude.
It's not that crazy though. It's just like like one fairly big portion of chicken and like a fairly big portion of beef, and you pretty much hit it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it goes up really quick. That's probably why a lot of times we don't know we're getting fat, is just because we don't realize we're eating like 1,000 calories more than we should, kind of thing. But yeah, and for me too, I've dieted a lot in my life, so going up and going down messes with your metabolism. There's a whole podcast to be had about that.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think I'm like a little bit bigger now than I've been in like 10 years.
Oh wow.
I think when I weighed myself 15 days ago, I was like 180. And when me and you did the podcast, I think I was like 155 or something like that. I don't want to be 155. I'd like to be like 160 and then build off of that. You know what I mean? But build solidly. So I don't know. I've lost like 6 pounds since then. So like, I got jeans on right now and I'm sitting in them and like I don't feel like San Diego, where I'm just like the ocean is rolling over into the streets. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
So
awesome.
I'm doing the best I can, man. I'm just trying to keep myself accountable, and like you gotta look at these pro fat guys or for the pro fats on the TikTok when they're like, I'm fat and proud, and be like, that's not what I want. So then you just do the opposite of that.
Jesus Christ.
Like, you got to buy 2 plane tickets. That's not what I want for me.
No, it's not what I want either. It just is what it is. I love training. Like I say, man, I've never had trouble. It's weird because I started boxing again since like there was the pandemic thing and all that stuff shut down for a while. Then when it finally came back, I went to do it, and I was really surprised because I gained a few pounds too. I understand where you came from. Like I gained a few pounds during that time. I train in my house. I trained every day, but it's not the same as getting out and doing like a class or something where you have to keep a certain pace. And I was expecting to be completely wrecked and whatever. And I was like, okay, I don't think anybody here. Now I'm calling out anybody who's at that gym. They're gonna be like, oh, really, Rick? Let's see what happens. But I don't
at
think
a boxing gym too, they could fight you literally. They'd be like, hey, let's go spar, and then just like, oh, elbow. Sorry, I heard your podcast.
Caveat: none of the real boxers at the gym. Let's put it that way. the real boxers at the gym, like I'm a guy. This is a cardio boxing class. So like you go there, you throw a million punches, you do some sit-ups and push-ups, and you go home. That's not being a boxer. A real boxer just does a lot more than that. So I'm not talking about them.
And stuff.
But the people in the class, the regular folks, there's people from being 15 years old to being 60 years old. And I was like, you know what? Not very many people here can hang with me during this punching thing. So I was like, I'm sitting here throwing punches. I'm like, oh, everybody likes see people getting tired. And I could sing a song right now. Because, I felt pretty good about myself. So I'll say that. You said, are you in good shape? I'm like, I don't know. It depends on what you mean. Throwing punches for a lot of rounds? Yes. Being like shredded and having abs? Not really. I got some work to do.
I mean, and I'm not like, I don't think I'm like fat by any means. I'm just a little heavier than I'm used to. You know what I mean? Like it's noticeable to me, but it's like, it's melting off. I just got to keep honest. And I do want to like acknowledge that you just called out all the fats at your gym. And I hope they all listen to this and they come in and they're like, oh, Rick, we can't hang with you. And they're like, how about all of us at once? And then you get to play Marco Polo and get raped in the pool with your eyes closed.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Maybe I brought it on myself. Who knows? Let's see. I'm not backing down. I'm standing by what I said. Dude,
that fasting thing sounds dope though. I gotta try it. I've gotten the good habits down. I think I'm gonna keep them going for like the rest of the month, and then I'll probably reassess. Like, oh, now I want to fast.
If you get there, just start wherever you can, man. Like that. Yeah. That's the thing. I always try them, and it's like I've done intermittent fasting, which they call time restricted eating, for a long time. So it's not like I jumped in at 20 hours and got to a 24-hour period pretty fast. But it's because it took a long time to get there. So like you're gonna feel hungry, and you're gonna be like, okay, I'm hungry, so fill in that, do it as what is comfortable for you, and just extend the time over
have you gotten like abs or anything? Like, have you ever had like abs in your life?
I don't think I ever have. I've always been a person who gains weight easily. I've always trained very hard too. Like I've done martial arts since I was 10. There's very, very rarely was I not exercising. And yet I'm a person who will I could gain 50 pounds. You know what I mean? Like easily.
But what are you eating? If you could eat whatever you want and not gain weight, like what's the thing that like you look at and you're just like, oh.
There'd be two things. Probably legit. I know we're going way over. Jeez, I'm not respecting your time
dude.
at all.
Sorry, I don't know if you got stuff to do.
I don't. I when I'm gonna talk to somebody, I talk. That's all I'm doing. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I clear out like a few hours, and I'm just like, I just respect the time frame, but I'm also ready to go like 2 hours over or whatever.
Yeah, I'm into this. But okay, yeah. What did you ask me? Okay, what am I eating?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. That deathbed meal, not literally, but like
if I really wanted to, because I never eat this stuff, like freaking never. Two things: pizza from somewhere, probably in the East Coast, like New York, right? Like legit, or maybe in Italy. There's a few spots in
Chicago
Italy.
Or New York.
I could do either, but I'm thinking probably I'd go New York just because. Yeah. But the Chicago is
that's
dope.
Like one piece and you're done though, because it's cake.
Yeah, it's like this thick.
Yeah, that's one and done. The Chicago.
I like the bread, so it would make sense. So it's like I'm down for it, but what comes to mind is the New York style one where it's a bit thinner, and sushi in Japan or sushi in California.
You can't have sushi.
It's rice, it's rice and it's rice and sugar basically. It's like rice, sugar, and vinegar. The sushi vinegar is sugar. So that's why it's sticky.
So good. Sushi is so dude. Sushi with like that wasabi in it. Dude, the wasabi for me makes the whole thing.
Oh, it's so good.
Like if there's no wasabi, I don't want the sushi. Like I need the wasabi and the soy sauce and like.
Okay.
I don't need any like the aioli or mayonnaise on that. Like that's kind of gross. But like the wasabi's so good.
It is good, man. It's so good. But that would have been it. What about you? What's your last?
Oh, dude, I'm a fat piece of garbage. I would have donuts, candy, chips, pizza, spaghetti. Like for me, it's noodles. Noodles make me so fat. I'd have like lasagna. I'd be like Garfield, just like with a trash bin. Of like it wouldn't even be cooked in a pan. It'd just be like it would look like I was like eating out of the trash. Like I'd be so like vicious. I'd probably be afraid of getting like a baton to the back of the head from like a cop. I'd be eating so. I just love stuff that's not good for you. I like the chemicals. Give me soda. Give me like all the bad stuff.
So you like that's crazy. You would be arrested for your eating style.
I would just it would be disgusting, dude. Like they would ship me to Florida. I think I wouldn't be allowed in California anymore.
Back down to Florida it is. Down to Florida it is.
I bet you go down there with that bayou trash. I'd be like, all right.
That bayou trash. God, I think about going to Florida. Like I'm on the East Coast, so Florida's where everybody goes for winter. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm down for Florida
the
or
weather's
Texas.
Great, and it gets a bad rap. Like Florida got a bad rap during the pandemic because they all look like idiots because they were like, hey, stay inside, and they're all at the fucking beach. But I mean, I don't know, whatever, dude. I think they're smarter than us because they were out on the beach having fun. When we were just like, oh, I hope I don't get sick inside my house. I'm scrubbing my bottle of Lysol with Lysol. Like, I don't know. I feel like they had more fun than I did.
And it kind of didn't matter.
I think they might have had the right idea. I don't know.
In the end, it didn't matter. Like it was like, oh,
I don't know. None of them got sick. They're all having fun, and I'm just like, well, they said this, and it's like, well, I don't know. They're smiling, and I'm not. I'm crying in my house. So.
My story of during that time was I stayed inside. I did all that stuff. I was totally didn't get sick. Didn't do any of that. I got a freezer so I could just go shopping once a month. You know what I mean? Like I did a lot of stuff.
I did that too, and I felt so dumb because everybody was like outside, and none of them got sick, and I'm like, well, what the fuck?
And then here's what happened. We had to go to the hospital because somebody was dying, right? So they died, and we got COVID from the hospital. Yeah, basically, which had the most rules possible. We got COVID from the hospital. Didn't know we had it because it doesn't kick in right away. And
yeah, you don't. It's not like you don't find out till like a couple of days afterwards.
We went to see the in-laws. We like because the person died, right? So like we were seeing people, we're hugging people, kissing them on the face, and all of this. The only people didn't have COVID were the no-vaxxed, not trying, don't believe in any of this. They didn't get sick even a little bit. So I was like, are you? Go.
It's
please.
Insane. It's insane that happened. Like COVID was so crazy because it was all like the insurrection in the United States happened, and they like rushed the and like George Floyd was going on too, and dude, it was so crazy. And then these people were out there with no masks and they weren't sick at all. But then sometimes they would die, and we'd be like, oh, thank God they took one. Because I was starting to feel like a moron. I was like, oh, why not? Am I just listening to like the like some dude that like big pharma's paying off? Like at one point I was like, dude, Fauci's taking money from big pharma. There's no way he's right. There's no all these idiots are outside, and then I'd hear like, oh no, 30 of them died, and I'd be like, well,
maybe I'm not as dumb as I thought.
That made me feel better. I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel good. It was all but I don't know. And just like you never know, dude, because like these people could be bought and paid for by like the people that are coming out with the truck. Like, how else are they affording it? They're affording it because you're the spokesperson. These people are going to buy it. The governments are going to buy it and offer it to us for free. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist about every single thing, but I do think that there is some way to be had in like questioning the authority that we all live under sometimes.
Makes
like,
a lot of sense.
They can't always be right?
I think so. I think also when there is a monetary gain to be had, you kind of have to ask some questions. Or honestly, with anything, you could always just ask why. Why? What's the motivation? Where's this coming from? Yeah. I don't think it's wrong to ask those questions. It just sounds like you're being intelligent. You can come to whatever conclusion you come to, but over whatever topic we're talking about, I think it's totally fine to say, I don't know if a thing the government, who are generally a bunch of people, politicians who traditionally have been known to be liars, like that's a common thing for politicians is like, hey, what's a politician do? They can never tell the truth. That's a classic joke from the 1800s, you know? So I don't know. I feel like if it's people that are known liars, maybe maybe they're telling the truth this time. Maybe they were lying last time. Let's shake it up a little bit and maybe ask a question or two. That's my thoughts.
It's just that age-old thing from like South Park where it's like you can vote for a hippie liberal douche or a big turd sandwich, and like those are your options. And like but I didn't understand it then when I was a kid, because it comes out in like some of the topic. Well, it's a cartoon made by adults, and some of the topics I don't get, but rewatching it now as an adult, I'm like, fuck, they're like predicting the future in this show. We don't have very many options. Like we're not getting like, you know,
No,
I don't know.
You're absolutely right.
You get like a guy, you get Weekend at Bernie's, like this old that guy, or you get a guy with like top ramen hair, and it's like I don't know.
What do we do?
Well, I'm not voting.
No, I'm with you. It's kind of like that, and yeah, it's I'm not a conspiracy person, but I am more paranoid, I think, than some, and less paranoid than others. And I kind of go like, hey, what do you want? Like I have an East Coast Italian background, so I'm kind of like, who's asking? You know, that's generally a classic kind of thing where you're like, okay, if somebody's trying to tell me, what are you trying to sell me? What are you trying to sell me right now? Why are you trying to sell me something? Why are you trying to talk to me right now? Like, so I get into that kind of vibe. Sometimes that's positive, sometimes it's not, but I do think asking questions is not the worst thing. You shouldn't be, crucified for saying, did this person tell me the truth? And I don't think we should try to be on these teams. Like you're saying, do I vote for this hippie douche or the piece of shit? Like from it's a TV show, but it does feel like how it is.
It really does.
Why do any of us have to be on these teams at all? Like,
can your officials be reelected like without having like you can go as many terms as they want? Like because I know Russia can do that. Is the government in Canada like that as well?
We care so little about our own government in Canada. Let me see here. Can you keep going and keep going and keep going with the same people? Now somebody's going to be mad at me for not knowing that. Should I look this up? I thought there were term limits. But because I know in the States, obviously you got 4-year term limits, right? And you have to be reelected. There is a term limit though. Like you have to run for election, but I don't know if you can do it 10 times. Like you can do it twice as a president, right? I don't know if you can do it 10 times as
you can be elected twice as a president.
Yeah, here you can be definitely elected twice. I think it goes longer here, so it can become a bit despotic after a while. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, I don't know. Why do you ask?
Oh, I don't know. Because we're like it's like apples to oranges with like you're right above us. So I've always been like, hey, how does this work? How does that work? I just didn't know if you guys had something similar to what we have because this is an election year for us. So it's a very like heated kind of climate. So I was just curious as to like how often does that happen for you? When does your climate become heated? Because ours is kind of weird right now. Especially since nobody's happy with the candidates. I don't think anyone is.
It's a similar thing. I think right now is one of the biggest election years in history worldwide, right? I think there's something like 40 countries or something that are all having an election year this year. Yeah. So like I think there was Mexico was in there. Argentina just did. You've got the United States. Like this is a time where just in this next like 18-month period, 40 different countries are going to be voting who's their officials. So like everything's kind of up in the air.
Can I ask you something off topic? Do you think that posting lots of videos about like why it's not fair that Palestine and Israel are at war, do you think that helps the war by posting lots of videos on Instagram? You don't do it. I'm just asking.
No, I definitely don't.
You don't think it helps?
I don't.
People do it all day long.
I don't think
Palestine. I'm like, cool. What do I do? Do I just post a video? What you want me to go fight? Because I don't know what anyone's did. They just post a lot about it. They don't do anything. You have to go and like help. You're just gonna post about it. You're gonna be like a 22-year-old white lady, and you're gonna post about it and be mad that I don't like it. You just want to like on Instagram. Get off your high horse. That's all.
I struggle with virtue signaling for sure. I feel like it's like, but I often am first to think that it's virtue signaling, and then maybe I'll try to repurpose that and say this person just got emotionally, some story they saw, some post they saw hooked them, and it made them feel emotionally bad about the situation. And they said, I gotta do something. There's not much I can do. I'm gonna post something and say, hey everybody, let's raise awareness. I can see the path, but I'm a person again who says, okay, why am I like on this podcast? I'm not gonna bring up endless political stuff because you asked me, hey Rick, how does your government work? And I was like, I don't know, Taylor. So obviously I'm not the guy.
Like, weird about it. I just didn't know like how like if like you guys can have the same elected guy in there.
No, but ultimately I don't know. So like I'm obviously not the one. So my point though is, since I don't know and since I'm not an expert in this, I don't really think I should be posting about a ultra complicated political
Yeah.
situation. Do you know what I
There's
mean?
so
About
much to
other
that too that I don't
countries.
know about.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I'm
Like I don't
sure.
know. I don't know anything about that situation except for I wish people would not die. Like
That's where I'd
that's
like to be.
I,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much like the universal reaction to that. Like I wish people did not die, but I don't know enough about it to like post a million things about it. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
crazy. I feel like my feed is just Palestine. I'm just like, what the fuck? I didn't know I had so many people that knew, like that were smarter than me. Like, you could throw a rock and find someone smarter than me. I just didn't know like so many people know about like international issues now. It makes me feel dumb. Is what I'm trying to say.
Maybe.
I feel maybe I do need to move to Florida.
But
I think I do.
You know, I might have to as well. But look, I hear Palm Beach is nice, but like, here's the thing. Yeah, crazy. So, but no, still, I think ultimately it's people want to feel like they're a part of something, I think, and maybe not to belittle any particular situation, but I think people want to feel like they're a part of something. They're part of the thing that's happening now. They're part of history. They're on the right side of things. People want to feel that way. They want to feel that way. And so they're out here doing that to try to be good. So I get the vibe that you're putting out. You're trying to be good. But I don't know, you asking me, does it do anything? I don't think so. I think this is something that is being kind of fed from above that says, oh, should you care about this? I'm like, well, why don't we care about our own money? Let's care about our own money first. Like, let's teach us finances instead of pushing, like, because everyone has to use a finance, but we don't care about that. Or how about health and fitness? You know, you've had to figure out how to do this on your own. I've had to figure out how to do it on my own. We're eating carnivore because we heard Joe Rogan did it or something. You know, like, this is what we're doing. So
how about like taxes? How about how to do your taxes?
There you go.
How to fill out a W-2 during employment.
There you go. See, we're old, obviously, because we care about this stuff. But this is what it is. How to if somebody would have told us when we were kids, when we were just kids, I think maybe in school they were like, you got to start a bank account or something.
What year were you born?
Well, I'm not going to say. Why?
Okay.
I was in the 80s.
I was in the 80s. I'm 86.
I'm paranoid. That's the reason. Not because I'm worried about my age. I was born in the 80s. Yeah.
Are we of similar? No.
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. We're pretty close. So we're in the same sort of age range. It's probably why we feel the same way about a lot of things.
Literally everything. There's been nothing where I've been like, Rick, you're not. I don't know, Rick. Even with my parents, you closed the gap. You created something that wasn't completely negative for me to like latch onto. Like, maybe that's the case.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't about them. Maybe they were saying, hey, we want to have the full amount possible coming into us. That way he's going to get it in the end. Like they waited till they were in their 60s to be in this situation. They give you the opportunity to stand on your own feet there. You're crushing it anyway. I know you're doing good. I know you were able to save money. But here's what I was going to say about the 80s thing. In the 80s, when we were kids, if somebody would have said, okay, start an investment account right now, as a kid, get your parents to open one, open that right now, put all your spare 10% of your money that you get from your paper route or whatever into the S&P 500, right? We've all heard of the S&P 500. It's the top 500. It's an index fund where the top 500 companies get money from this fund, and it's managed by some people, and it goes up all the time. You're not betting that any one of these companies will succeed, but you're betting that the top 500 companies are probably going to continue to do well. So if someone would have said just do that, none of us would be working right now, because it went from being worth like $100 to worth like $4,000 now. So we'd all be multimillionaires this second. And even if we weren't, and it was a different portfolio, like start a portfolio right now, put 10% of the money you make as you're when you became a bartender, whatever the first job. I worked at a golf course the first time, in a restaurant at some point. If I had taken any amount of these monies and did that throughout that time, nobody told me to do this. I learned this stuff as an adult. They knew it then. So
I was told, but I feel like when you're that young, the immediate gratification of what your money can get you right then is all that you're interested in. You don't think about like compound interest or like how much it could be in 10 years. You're just still thinking about like, yo, I got to pay my phone bill. I have a phone bill now. I have taxes. I don't get my whole paycheck. My paycheck is $200-$300 less than what it should be because I'm paying money to the government that doesn't do anything. it's just like when you're young, I feel like nothing makes sense. And I see that a lot on TikTok too. Like people are starting to get their tax returns back right now. And it's like they're getting $1, $2 because of some tax law that was made. I don't know anything about it, but it's just like kids that are super mad that like nobody told them or like they didn't read, or the bill that they were supposed to read that they voted on was like 19 pages long. No one's going to read that. Who reads the Apple agreement? We don't even read the Apple agreement.
Super true.
They could be selling my nudes to Malaysia and then making kids sick because those would make them throw up. Then they wouldn't be able to make the iPhones.
It's, I think we hit on a lot of those topics. No, but it's the case, So there's a lot of things we could have learned. Instead of worrying about some external problem that probably you have it's what you call a circle of influence, right? You have no influence on this whatsoever, no matter how many times you post something on a social media platform. It's why I try to just have podcasts and entertainment and all that stuff as being what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is why I just post comedy shit. I don't post anything political on my thing at all. I mean, I think I posted one thing the other day, but it was just about like the cost of houses and stuff like that, and like why I think that like I just pointed out like what real estate is doing and like how it's $200,000 more now than it was like during the pandemic and whatever. I don't post political shit anywhere. It's not. I'm not an expert about it. I don't want to like, unless I'm making fun of someone.
I did have one point that was political that I wrote something down because I thought it would be fun to talk about. So I do have a political one. Since we're both not political experts in any way, maybe we can see this from a perspective that others haven't. So this is something that happened recently, and people have talked about it. So you may have heard about it. There's this fellow. He used to be on Survivor. He was the winner of Survivor, I think, and he became a congressman in Kentucky.
Whoa!
And so yeah, he's killing it across the board. And there was a bill that he pushed forward that you talked about nobody reads all these bills. Well, in the fine print, it said that sex between cousins is no longer incest, because this is like a bill that was supposed to put laws around sex, and they're like, but cousins is cool. First cousins, don't worry about it. So
I gotta go to Kentucky because I got a thick cousin, and I you know what? She might need 2 plane seats, but we'll get her to Kentucky. We'll
get her to Kentucky. No, well, so he said it was a mistake. It was by accident. So I want to believe him.
There's no way. There's no way that you take a complex bill like that that's got multiple things on it and it's read through all and you put that on there. Where does it come from to begin with? How does that bill accidentally get on there? I understand a typo, but
somebody
a whole
put it
bill?
in. Somebody put it in. Somebody slipped that in there. Who did it? I guess that's it.
It's hilarious.
It's super funny.
It's the best.
So what do you do? Do you see what he did was he retracted the bill. He said, "Oh, that was a mistake. I'm pulling this back." What do you do when you're in his place? Do you double down? Do you pull it back? What do you think?
No. You gotta just to save face. You're the governor of Kentucky, or you're a congressman in Kentucky. How does that make you look as like a peer? Not great. So you repeal the bill, you redo it, and then you put it in place. You go, yo, my bad. You take accountability even though it wasn't your fault. That's like what politicians are supposed to do. They're just supposed to be the accountable ones. Okay. I blame you. So you take the blame. That's what you sign up for when you're a politician.
Okay, fair.
Just say, it's a oopsie. Oopsie daisies.
I would be like, too bad, guys. Now everyone can have sex with their cousin. It's not illegal anymore. Take it, leave it. I stand by the bill.
You need a lock on your door because Uncle Tim's staying over.
Yep. Sorry, Sarah.
Yeah.
So that's the story with that.
Insane. That's an insane thing to do.
It was pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, it happened. So I wrote that down. Okay. You know what?
With this medium, are you going to be doing podcasts weekly, monthly? How does that look? And how does that affect you doing your stream? Are you still going to be doing that?
I plan to do the stream, but less. I want to focus on this because, as you know, my name on Twitch is Ragged World. The name comes from the podcast. I've been doing this podcast like a year before I ever started streaming. And some stuff happened in my life that made it so that I didn't feel like I could be accountable to my guests. Like if I made an appointment, I didn't know if I'd be able to keep it. So I was like, okay, I got to find a way to do something. So I just went on Twitch. I was reading 1950s comic books. It was meant to be fun, you know? But in the end, it's like I started interviewing people. The circumstances shifted. I feel like I can have these people again. One of my goals is I want to interview 1,000 people in my life. If I could do 1,000 of these shows, that'd be amazing. And get to know people, get to see people from I'd like to have people who do construction work, electricians, financial people. So, because I don't know this stuff, we just talked about that. And we end up also talking about Belle from Beauty and the Beast fucking a horse. So, you know, like you can't listen to us. I can listen to you on comedy, but we can't listen to us on these other topics. So I would love to.
I'm not even like a professional. It's just something that I like have a passion for and that I do and I think I excel in, and like I'm just gonna keep trying. I just respect, I revere. I don't think I'm the best at, but I'm gonna keep shooting for hitting those high marks. I'm gonna try for the best.
I think you're good, man. That's why I wanted you on again and again and again. It's the third time I talked to you on one of these things because Dude,
we're gonna do it again. It's always fun. Like we planned an hour. It's what, like 2?
Yeah, it's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. And I
do
didn't
you
even
condense this? Do you release this in 2 parts? I mean, you could release it in 2 parts.
I think, yeah, because I don't want them to be much more than an hour, but since if it's gone really well, I'll look into it. Maybe I'm going to edit some stuff too. We'll see what happens with that. Geez, we didn't talk about our lines. You know what? We could do a quick lines thing another time, maybe. I don't know. Unless you want to do a couple now.
I did one of my lines. I did the old joke, the old person joke. Like 67's young with you're an old piece of shit.
I did one too. Let me see here. I'm gonna see if I can pick one. Let's end this thing off by picking one of these lines and saying.
And I did the Marco Polo one. Was that live when we were doing it?
That was live. We recorded it. We got that. I'm pretty sure.
I got my lines in.
Maybe we did, but I want you to say one too. Like let's look at something. Okay.
Let me find one. Actually, no. I have one. I have one off the top of my head.
This is a premise though. It says luck of the draw in. I have my phone here. Like it says luck of the draw in the battery hierarchy. The different items you might use a battery in. Like there's a wireless keyboard, which is a bit more prestigious, but the same AA battery might end up in the nose hair trimmer. Like shorten, like, so I wrote this, shorten down. It might be.
It's a good premise. I like it.
Is it? Here's what I wrote underneath though. I was like, shorten down might be batteries for the vibrator or the butt plug. There's no merit-based system for batteries essentially. So I don't know. Is that even? That's nothing.
Why do the same batteries that go in the baby monitor go in the dildo? Why?
That's it. So like you just happen to grab this one and it's like, oh, where am I gonna go? And then it's, oh, this is I'm in the baby monitor. This is a wholesome. I'm an important battery. And then it's okay. Well, I'm in the butt plug and I didn't. You know, they all graduated from the same battery school, right? So,
yeah. All right, I have one.
Okay, what do you got?
So mine is Yelp is a weird name. I don't know why you would name a restaurant review site after the same sound a dog makes when I hit it with my car.
Okay, that's good. That was good. That was really good. I like it. Also, runner up. Metal teeth villains are basically amputees.
It's true. It's true.
I was like, how is he better? Like, he's just a guy who lost his jaw. Okay, so anyway.
So true.
Yeah, dude. Okay, this has been fun. I know it's been a couple of hours. I'm sorry I didn't even bother looking at the time. I was having fun with the conversation.
No, I don't care, dude. I had a chance to go pee. I just need to pee again. So.
Okay. Well, no, look, it's good. We're done. We're more than done. I'm gonna have to now cut through 2 hours of this. But yeah.
How do people find this? Is this on? You said this is just on YouTube, but like, do you have any like aspirations to Spotify it or like Apple Podcast? They're super easy to put on.
This is in no way just on YouTube. This is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play.
Yes.
This is the podcast. This isn't the Twitch stream where it's whoever, you know, like this is the podcast. The podcast has always been on all of these different venues. So no, it's on I think 5 different platforms essentially. So it'll be on Spotify.
Wait a minute.
And YouTube.
Ragged World? I searched you the other day and I couldn't find you on Spotify.
It's there. They're my carrier. Spotify is my
Really?
character. So yeah, I'll send you a link or something. It's
Okay, yeah,
tough
send
when
me a
you're
link
not
because
popular.
I looked for it like actively, and I was like Ragged World, and I was trying to listen to one of your older podcasts because I know I've seen them on YouTube, and I know the Neon Ballroom, but
Yeah.
I have Spotify yet to see. But I didn't. I just looked at like the first 3 that were up there, and I was like, oh, a song by T-Pain.
Yeah, they
Okay.
cared. They care very little if you're not a very. I'm not a big podcaster, so that's. But you know what? Down the road, man, I'm saying give it a year, give it 2 years maybe, and putting our best foot forward, we're gonna see a difference. I think.
How many episodes do you have on there?
Oh no, just the podcast. I'd only just started. I think I have 10 episodes. 10 episodes. So I
Okay, I gotta go listen to them.
But I had
I think that's gonna be the rest of my day because I'll miss you when this is done. So I'll just listen to those. My girlfriend will try like, shut up. Try to listen to Rick.
That's it. Well, okay. Well, don't have the domestic abuse situation if you can.
Thank you for just inspiring domestic violence into my relationship by having such a compelling podcast, Rick. Thank you.
All right. No, but thank you. And I like I say, I'll put the links in the show notes and everything too. I want everyone to see Taylor Complains. And it's got a ring to it. Taylor Complains. It sounds like that could be.
It's easy. It's easier than Defiled Intros. Defiled Intros sounds like some angry 13-year-olds like, I listened to the Deftones today, and this is like I just wanted something easily digestible and not, you know, like I don't want you to know that I've been therapized, you know.
Well, look, dude, you're awesome. You're awesome. I appreciate you being here, of course. I always do. And just for being here for this first one, like I say, this is the first podcast that looks like this, the darker background, all of that stuff. You're here for the new thing. I wanted you to be the first
amazing.
one.
Do you have video on Spotify as well?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I want to do that. That's more advanced than mine. Mine's just like me yelling at a microphone. But I'm going to get 2 mics, and I'm going to bring people in and do in-person interviews. It's going to start sounding better. I started using an actual, like, the microphone behind me. I found out ways to just, like, make it work. So, like, it's ever evolving in its audio sound.
Oh, that's awesome. No, it sounded good. I like what you had. I know you've got kind of a jazzy tune playing while you guys are talking, which gives it some momentum, I think, too. I like that. Like, you have, like, some music playing. Super cool. The conversation can kind of go anywhere, and I feel like it's part of the music almost. So no, it's a good you got a good thing going. I can't wait to see where you're gonna take it. I know, like, I'm happy to be on with people who are serious about it, who take it's maybe it's entertainment and it's silly, but it's still the thing.
I mean, it's meaningful to me as well. I think it's like getting to know other people and like letting them broadcast what they do and what that means to them. And I don't know, it's cool. It's like interpersonally important. Plus it's entertaining. Plus it could be funny. It's like, I just try to make it everything. Like whatever it ends up being, I just allow that. I don't try to force it to be funny. I don't force it to be introspective. Like whatever the person's willing to like give, I just receive that, and I try to like comment on it and like do the best I can based on the skills that I've acquired by doing this for a year now. So
that's awesome. All right, well, everyone's gonna go listen to the Taylor Complains podcast. Is that's right? I still say the Taylor Complains podcast.
That's the same. I mean, you can say it however you want. I mean, bald guy that's mad about being bald, so he made a podcast and complains about it.